recording. I'll start recording. See how it comes out. See how I get it. Let's see. Check this out. Check my little audio. My audio. Adios. Hello. See, I ain't even getting shit. Hello. All right. So turn up that. I guess I'll get it. You hear it good. I hear it clear. Not too loud. Gotta remember I am deaf. Anyway, so yeah, we'll shoot it. We'll leave them on. Let's see. We'll leave them on because if I go like this, yeah, it's gonna sound distorted or something. I don't know. Whatever. Chop it up like this from where I'm at. Leave this voice level out. See what happens. Shoot the shit, I guess. Bob Arum gets a quick middle finger up from that boy Mikey Garcia, right? Mikey Garcia says that that man, he doesn't think that anyway. Mikey Garcia does a little post and gets a little rant action going, talking about Bob Arum, talks about Bob Arum's good for building up fighters, but not good for keeping a fighter that's already built, that's popular, that's a star, like building him up or wants him to make money. So talks about how many people left him. Cotto, Mayweather, De La Hoya, Chavez Jr., Andy Ruiz, and himself all left and made more money. And we look at the Crawford situation. Everybody talks about how Crawford should be a big star, man. It's ridiculous that he's not. And why he stayed that long with him, I have no idea. But Crawford deserves his money, man. He deserves to be a big star. It's hard for him to get fights, and a lot of people don't want to work with Bob Arum, man. There's those politics, Same thing with when Canelo was with Golden Boy. They had those politics. He couldn't fight certain fighters, or situations would come up. And he also talks about how, when people like your promoter or your manager have their hand in who you fight, your opponent has your that say. So you can't really pick who you want to fight because maybe they don't want you to fight them. Maybe they can make more money because they can deal with this guy. Or maybe they don't like talking to them guys. Whatever it is, politics get in the way. A fighter can call out a fighter all day long. A fighter can want to fight and beg and never get it just because of, people standing in the way. So, these guys become independent. Man, they start fighting who they want to fight. That's a good thing. You can work with what promoter you want. We were seeing that happen, with Mikey Garcia, with Canelo. Floyd Mayweather did it. Whether they're going to go back and fight Bob Arum, people, who knows? He did have a lot of good things to say about Top Rank, about how Top Rank are good people, and they're, he had good and bad to say. He said some people, he never sat down and spoke to Bob. Bob only had his people go and tell him stuff about, his people. Bob's people told Bob about Mikey Garcia is difficult to deal with. He wants so much money and blah, blah, blah. Trying to make it seem, well, in his point of view, trying to make it seem like they're doing their job, but they ain't doing anything. So, but putting him down. Anyway, so it didn't work out, so he left. So then he starts talking about how, who he wants to fight or who he is willing to fight. He's willing to fight Crawford. He's willing to fight Thurman. He's willing to fight Danny Garcia and fight, whoever you put in his way. He also mentions Haney. They ask him about Haney during his rant, and he says, or during his post, and he says, well, Haney knows my number. He works for Eddie Hearn. So Eddie Hearn knows his number. Eddie Hearn can call him. Call him up. Make that fight happen. It's all on them, That's lightweight. Devin Haney. I think Mikey should be back down at lightweight. I don't know what he's doing up at 147. At least at 140. He can go to 140. But let's say he can make 135. Man, he can go and fight Teofimo Lopez, man, and make that fight. And again, that's Teofimo's with top rank. So whether he'll be able to make that fight and work it out, he doesn't have to talk to Bob. He could talk to the top ranked people. And if they're willing to negotiate with him, then he can make that fight and he'll be undisputed if he beats Lopez, So I mean that's a fight, we want to see all those fights that he mentioned, man. Crawford, Thurman, Danny Garcia, all those fights, man. I'm glad we got to see the Bronner fight. I'm glad he fought Bunny, and he won those fights. So what I don't know why he went up to fight the Truth, Earl Spence, but he wanted to challenge himself, and that's a good thing. I mean, hey, if you want to challenge yourself, man, losing that zero means nothing. Just means you challenge yourself. Hey, that's what we need to see, man. As a boxing fan and the rest of the boxing fans, we don't care about zeros being lost, man. We don't care about undefeated. I mean, doesn't mean nothing to me. There's fighters that haven't fought that should fight that we wanted to see that we never got to see because they're holding back on that, holding back that fight. Imagine if we got to see Kell Brook and Amir Khan, back when they were up, and before all the losses and all that. Man, they're talking about that fight left and right. They kept putting it off, and now Khan's like he wants to fight him or he's gonna fight him. They actually made that fight. I wanted to make a video on that. I still will, if I can get this thing to work for me. Anyway, so yeah, we got, they're gonna make that fight, and those are fights we want to see. A whole bunch of fights that we're never gonna get to see, or probably never gonna get to see, just because somebody lost their zero, or Thurman versus Earl Spence. We wanted to see that fight when Thurman was on top. We never got to see that. He didn't want to risk it because, he knew that Earl Spence was a tough challenge, but he went up against a bigger money fight, which was Pacquiao. And Thurman was also holding out to fight Mayweather, but he never got that fight. Instead, Mayweather fought Berto. I don't know what's that about, but whatever. Another example of not taking a risky fight to protect that zero. And a lot of it happens because of that guy, the quote-unquote TBE, or self-proclaimed TBE. Anyway, yeah, so I'm glad that he said that, just like I'm glad that, what's his name, Demetrius Andrade came out and said, man, we all need to fight each other instead of waiting around for a big payday or whatever, because we can still make the same amount of money or decent money fighting each other instead of just waiting for the face of boxing or the top guy, the big seller fight, because imagine the great fight we would have got with the WBA champion Thurman versus the IBF champion Earl Spence. Jesus, I can't remember that guy's name for saved my life over here. If he would have, Thurman and Kell Brook would have fought too. That'd have been a great one. But nah, man, they don't fight each other, man. They wait for that big payday or whatever. And like Mikey says, a lot of times it's the promoters. So we're not going to get Crawford and these guys unless he leaves Top Rank. It's the truth of the matter, man. What can you do, man? These guys are protecting their fighters and protecting their profits. Or they're protecting their profits, not so much their fighters. Because if a bigger profit came along, on a fighter that they thought that they knew you were going to lose, pretty sure they'd sell him out. Is what it is. I said on this one, hit the like and all that good stuff if it works out. I'm tired of doing video after video after video, so I'm going to see how this works out.